Right now, I'm going to show you how to install a new toilet. I'll try not to break my feet here. The nice thing is that the toilets come in two pieces. So I've got the bowl here and then the tank that we will install later. The first thing that you want to do is get your flange and your wax ring ready. This is something I already did. I removed the old toilet, took out the old wax ring, cleaned up this flange here, and the flange is in good condition. So now we're just going to install the wax ring and the new toilet. So for this one, I'm using this. It's the Danco all-in-one. It is a wax ring seal and it's universal. It works on a lot of different toilets. And the nice thing is it works great for DIYers because depending on how your flange is, it has different adjustments and it makes it really easy. So your flange can basically be in three different ways. It could be below the floor, so it's sunken. It could be flush with the floor, or like in my case, it can be above it a little bit. So when you get the flange, it's got this little blue ring in it, and this is for if it's below the floor, we're gonna leave this on. But since it's not below the floor, we're gonna take that off. Now to put it on, it's got these T-bolts. You're just going to line those up with the flange. You're gonna tighten it down with the lock nuts. And then you put these little bullets in here, and these are little guides. So when you put this wax ring down on, and then inside this little gray piece is the actual wax ring, then you put these pieces on, and now you have a guide on where to actually put your toilet. So now let's go ahead and put the toilet down onto this, and we'll go from there. In my experience, when you're putting in a toilet, I've only done 2 or 3 of these before, so I'm not an expert at it by any means, but if you're doing this by yourself for the first time, in my experience, my opinion, the hardest part is getting that wax ring lined up. So I really like the Danco system here, and this has made it much easier than the other toilets that I installed. So all I have to do now is pick up the toilet bowl here, get the holes lined up on the base of the toilet with those little bullets, and then just set it down in place. Just to make it clear here, on the base of the toilet here, on the back, we've got the 2 holes there, and that is just going to line up with these little 2 bullet guides, those blue pieces there, to line it up. And then quickly, I did just want to show you on the base of the toilet here, you know, that's the hole right there. That's all you're working with. So the traditional wax ring, in my opinion, that's why it's so hard to get lined up. It's not a large diameter hole. I'd say that's 2 or 3 inches in diameter. So it's not a huge area and you don't have a lot of wiggle room to screw things up. Our wax ring is in place here. And so now I just want to line it up here. I've just got the toilet here with the grip underneath the base here. And then I'm just trying to line it up straight and just set it straight down as best I can. Lined up on both sides there. And we're just going to rock back and forth here to kind of get things in place. I'm just putting my weight down on it and shifting back and forth here. Now, in my opinion, it's still a little wobbly. So what I'm going to do is remove it here. So I'm just going to lift it up. And then, this is something they recommend that you can do on this Danco, is you can pull out this black piece right here. So I'm taking this out, put it back on here, and see if I get a more flush, tighter seal and get the toilet not rocking. So again, just picking the toilet back up here. There we go. That feels better actually. So it feels a lot more secure, and I think we just need to tighten it in place now. So now we check and see where we're at here. So the cool thing about this Danco kit is that here it's really easy to identify if you're going to need an extender or not. So here, this little ring here around this blue piece, if this is below the toilet, you're going to need to put on this brass extender here. So let me just show you how to do it in case you're dealing with that. So we're just going to take this guide out, and then down in there, all you're going to do is screw this extender into it was the brass T down there, and now you have an extension piece that you would screw the bolt into if that was lower. So that's probably going to be if it was sunken below the floor. Since ours was flush, we have enough. So we are just going to go ahead and put our bolt in right away here. So our bolt will go directly in here. So with our bolts kind of just barely threaded in there, we have the slide spacer here. So we're just going to get that in. We're going to screw our bolt down until it gets kind of clamped in there. Then, once the head of the bolt gets down into that spacer, then you can actually use this as basically a screwdriver here, or a wrench, and then you are just spinning that to lock it in place. It gets you some leverage, and it will allow you to tighten it down. And the great thing is, you don't need any tools for this. You're just going to spin it until it's tight in place, and then you have your cap here. And your cap here on the bottom, it's got 2 grooves on the side, and that's just going to line up with your spacer that you just put on, and then that'll fit down, and then it's nice and flush, and that covers the bolt there. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Let's go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Again, we're going to get our guide out there. We're going to get our bolts in and started. We got the base in, now we need to put the tank on the back. Now it's time to put the tank on. So here on the bottom you do have a nut, and then you get this rubber gasket here that needs to go on. So just line it up and then press it on here. And then we can just set this back on the back of the toilet. And for this, you've got some components here. So we've got 2 bolts, got 2 plastic or rubber kind of washers that will go inside the toilet. Then we've got these 2 metal washers and bolts here that will go on the bottom, on the outside here. So let's go ahead and kind of get this lined up here. So you'll pick up the tank here on the back here. That's where that rubber gasket is going to sit into place. And that's kind of enough to barely hold it, so you do want to be careful with this while it's just resting here. But it is kind of secure enough that I can kind of leave it alone, but you just want to be here to take care of it. So now here we've got the 2 holes here, so we're going to drop the bolts in there. So 1 bolt with a rubber washer. We're going on this side here. Next bolt, rubber washer. We're going through this side here. And the bolt is dropped out the bottom there. We're doing a flathead screwdriver from up top here. So on the bottom here, we're going washer first, then the bolt underneath. So we'll just get the washer on to get started. We'll just hand tighten the bolts just to get us started here. I got it with my wrench from the bottom here, and then we're just going to tighten it up. Now we can put the tank lid on for now. Even though this toilet is basically flush up against the wall, that's how the lid is kind of made, to just go to the back of the toilet. So even if the base or the tank of the toilet is flush up against the wall, the lid still goes on here. Now let's go ahead and put the seat on and our supply line. Toilet seat just has 2 bolts right here with wing nuts on the bottom. The caps here open up, and on the back of the toilet seat here. So these just open up. So all we're going to do is put these bolts down through and then tighten the nuts on the bottom side of the toilet. I'm going to drop that in. Now this is a soft closed toilet seat here, so the hinge has a little bit of resistance on it, so it's a little different than a traditional toilet seat, but that's okay. So we just need a flathead or Phillips head screwdriver. We're just going to hold it on the top and then tighten it up from the bottom here. We're just going to put the wing nut on here. Put the wing nut on the bottom here. And it actually catches against the side of the toilet, which is nice because then you can essentially just put your screwdriver in here and twist from the top. Yeah, so the wing nut actually catches up against the base of the toilet there, and now you can just screw it into place, and it just makes it a little bit easier. But that might not always be the case. Let's just keep spinning here. There we go. So we got some resistance there. Now I'm just going to get it snug at first. I'm going to get the other side on. So it does have enough room to kind of spin, but then it kind of taps out. See how it hits the wall there? Now I can just spin to tighten it up. And it goes in a lot faster that way, which is nice, and you don't have to be on the bottom side there. Now I'm just getting them snug so that I can still kind of move the toilet seat around. Now with the bolts just kind of snug, I just want to kind of move the toilet seat, the lid, until it's kind of flush and straight and right where I want it, right? So this is a good time to make sure that everything is straight, and then I can really start to crank down. All right, so I want it to be pretty snug, and I'm not twisting as hard as I can, but nice and snug there, getting some good resistance. Now I'm just going to close the caps here, and they just kind of snap closed, and then in the future if I want to take them off, I just pop them open there, and then that's it. Now this is a soft closed toilet seat here, so it should catch itself there. Oh, and it makes a delightful little creaky sound, which is great. And that is a very soft close. Just go watch a movie and come back and it would be closed by that time. So nice thing there, these won't be slamming down here. And then let's go ahead and connect the supply line. So here's the supply line. This is it's a 3/8 inch OD, and that is for the actual valve coming out of the wall. And then it's a 7/8 inch BC, and that is for the base of the toilet here. Now, since they have these rubber gaskets in here, they say you do not need to use any Teflon tape around the actual threads here. So I'm going to go with that recommendation. I'm going to start here. All right, that's nice and snug. It's nice and snug. Moment of truth. We are going to turn on the water here. See if I get a leak or anything. See if we get this shut off. Boom! We got shut off. Oh, we got cardboard in here. Let's get the cardboard out. So we filled up with water down there. Let's give her a flush. And success. Nice. So there we go. That is how to install a new toilet. Now I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on it, make sure I don't have any leaks or anything like that, but everything looks really good right now. It's working well. Just gotta, wait for nature to take its course till I'll test it out. And hopefully that was helpful. If you like DIY around the house, feel free to like and subscribe. Check out some other videos. My name is Drew, and I'll see you in the next one.